Hello, and welcome to TerraNash. I'm Aiden, and I will be your narrator for tonight. Let me guide you into the world of dreams and wonder, a tale inspired by the rich myths of Norse legend, where fate is woven like a tapestry, and even the smallest threads can carry the weight of great meaning. Our story tonight is called The Dream Weaver, a calming journey into the mystical realms where dreams are made and purpose is found. But before we begin, we'd love to hear from you. Where are you listening from? And what time is it as you settle in to hear this story? We'd also love to know what kinds of stories you'd enjoy next. Your thoughts and suggestions inspire us, so please share them in the comments below. Oh, and I wanted to share an important update with you. Currently, only 5.5% of our viewers are subscribed to the channel, which means 94.5% of you haven't subscribed yet. If you've been enjoying our bedtime stories, subscribing is a simple and free way to support us. At the moment, we aim to remove all mid-roll ads from our videos to provide a seamless and uninterrupted viewing experience. Unfortunately, we are unable to do so because we have not yet reached the threshold required to gain control over ad placements. Reaching 1,000 subscribers will allow us to remove all mid-roll ads, ensuring a completely uninterrupted and relaxing experience for you. Your support means the world to us, and together we can make TerraNash an even more peaceful place for storytelling. If you'd like even more from TerraNash, you can check out our Patreon for early access to all our stories and a curated Spotify playlist to accompany your journey to relaxation. Now, settle in, take a deep breath, and let the world around you fade. Feel the weight of the day melt away as you close your eyes. Imagine yourself in a soft meadow under a starlit sky, the air cool and gentle against your skin. Let your body relax from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes. With every breath, sink deeper into stillness. There's nothing you need to do but listen. The story will carry you gently and peacefully toward the land of dreams. It was a quiet evening in a small village nestled under a canopy of stars. The cool breeze carried the faint scent of pine and wildflowers, and the only sounds were the gentle rustling of leaves and the soft murmur of a nearby brook. In a cozy little cottage at the edge of the forest, a young girl named Linnea sat by the hearth, her wide, curious eyes reflecting the flickering flames. Her grandmother, a wise and gentle soul, was telling one of her favorite stories, the tale of the Norns, the three sisters who lived beneath the great world tree, Yggdrasil. They were said to weave the threads of fate for gods and mortals alike. Urd, the eldest, wove the past, anchoring all that had been. Verdandi, the middle sister, wove the present, ever-changing and alive. And Skuld, the youngest, wove the future, a tapestry of endless possibilities. Their loom is unlike anything in our world, her grandmother said, her voice low and soothing. Each thread they weave shapes a life, a choice, a moment. Even the dreams we dream at night are born of their craft, guiding us in ways we often don't understand. Linnea's imagination was captivated by the story. She pictured the Norns sitting beneath the great tree, their hands moving gracefully as they wove glowing threads into a tapestry that stretched beyond sight. Her grandmother's voice softened as the story drew to a close, and the warmth of the fire made Linnea's eyelids grow heavy. As she was drifting off to sleep, a soft, silvery voice whispered her name. Linnea. She stirred, the sound seeming to come from the wind itself. Opening her eyes, she found herself no longer in the cottage, but standing in a glimmering meadow bathed in moonlight. The stars above shone brighter than she had ever seen, and the air felt alive with magic. Before her stood a figure, radiant and otherworldly, with golden hair and a gown that shimmered like the northern lights. Her presence was both comforting and awe-inspiring. "I am Skuld," the figure said, her voice calm and melodic. "You have been chosen to witness something few ever see, the weaving of dreams." Linnea's breath caught as she took in the sight of the youngest Norn. Skuld's eyes held the wisdom of countless lifetimes, yet her expression was gentle, almost playful, as if she understood the wonder and curiosity brimming within the child. "Where am I?" Linnea asked, her voice a mix of awe and uncertainty. "You are in the realm of dreams," Skuld replied, extending her hand. "Come with me, and I will show you how the dreams of the world are woven." Though nervous, Linnea felt an irresistible pull to follow. She took Skuld's hand, finding it warm and reassuring, and together they walked across the meadow. The grass beneath their feet sparkled like dew, and in the distance, Linnea saw the massive trunk of Yggdrasil rising into the heavens. The world tree was even more magnificent than Linnea had imagined. Its bark was silver and gold, and its roots stretched deep into the earth, pulsing faintly with life. Beneath its vast canopy, a shimmering loom stood at the center of a circular platform made of polished stone. Threads of every color imaginable floated in the air, their light casting soft, shifting patterns on the ground. "This is where we craft dreams," Skuld said, gesturing to the loom. "Each thread is a fragment of thought, memory, or emotion. When woven together, they create the stories people experience in their sleep. Dreams bring rest to the weary, hope to the discouraged, and clarity to the uncertain." Linnea watched in wonder as Skuld moved to the loom, her hands deftly selecting threads that shimmered with soft hues of blue, silver, and gold. With every motion, the threads wove themselves into a glowing vision of a calm sea under a starlit sky. A small boat floated peacefully on the waves, guided by the light of the moon. "This dream will bring peace to someone troubled by restless nights," Skuld explained, her voice as soothing as a lullaby. Linnea's curiosity grew with every passing moment. "Do you make dreams for everyone?" she asked. "Yes," Skuld replied. "For every soul in the 9 realms, we craft dreams that reflect what they need most. Some are filled with joy, others with lessons, and a few with challenges meant to guide them toward understanding." As Linnea listened, she felt a sense of awe and purpose stirring within her. She watched as Skuld selected another thread and began weaving a new dream. This one of a forest filled with sunlight, where birds sang and flowers bloomed in every color. "Would you like to try?" Skuld asked, turning to Linnea with a kind smile. Linnea hesitated, unsure if she could manage such an important task. But Skuld's encouragement was unwavering. Dreams, like life, are woven with care and courage. All you need is to begin. Taking a deep breath, Linnea reached for a glowing thread. As her fingers brushed against it, the thread pulsed warmly, as if it recognized her touch. Linnea stood before the shimmering loom, her heart racing with both excitement and trepidation. The threads floating in the air around her seemed alive, each glowing with its own unique hue and energy. Some threads were warm and bright, like golden sunlight. Others were cool and soft, like the first light of dawn. A few pulsed with mysterious shades of deep indigo and emerald, exuding an almost musical hum. "This is where all dreams begin," Skuld said, her voice gentle and encouraging. "Every thread you see holds a fragment of someone's story, a memory, a hope, a fear, or a longing. When woven together, they form dreams that guide, soothe, and inspire." Linnea leaned closer, marveling at the loom itself. Its frame seemed carved from Yggdrasil's roots, ancient and strong, yet shimmering as if coated in stardust. The loom's threads danced and swayed, waiting patiently for Skuld's touch. The youngest Norn moved with effortless grace, her hands selecting threads with an instinct that seemed almost magical. She pulled a strand of soft blue light and paired it with a delicate silver thread, weaving them together in a fluid motion. The threads melded seamlessly, forming a dream that shimmered in the air above the loom. As Linnea watched, the vision unfolded. It showed a ship sailing across calm waters, its sails glowing under the light of a full moon. A gentle breeze carried the vessel forward, and the stars above seemed to guide its way. "This dream will visit a weary sailor tonight," Skuld said softly. "It will remind them that even the most turbulent seas can give way to peace." Linnea's eyes widened in wonder. "Do you always know who the dream is for?" she asked. Skuld smiled, a knowing glimmer in her eyes. "Not always, but the threads do. They find their way to the soul that needs them most." The child felt a surge of curiosity and courage. She gazed at the floating threads and wondered what stories they held. When Skuld turned to her with a small, inviting smile, Linnea's breath caught. "Would you like to try weaving a dream, Linnea?" Linnea hesitated. "What if I do it wrong?" "There is no wrong," Skuld assured her. "Dreams, like life, are made through trial and discovery. Trust your heart and let the threads guide you." With a deep breath, Linnea reached for a thread. It glowed softly under her touch, warm and reassuring, as if it had been waiting for her. Linnea's hands trembled slightly as she held the golden thread. Its warmth seemed to flow into her, filling her with a quiet confidence. Skuld stood beside her, offering no instructions, only a calm presence that made Linnea feel safe. "What do I do now?" Linnea whispered. "Let your heart speak," Skuld replied. "Choose the threads that call to you and let them weave their own story." Linnea closed her eyes for a moment, letting the hum of the threads surround her. When she opened them again, she noticed a vibrant green strand shimmering nearby. Without thinking, she reached for it, feeling its cool, fresh energy mingle with the golden thread in her hand. Carefully, she placed them both onto the loom. The threads responded immediately, intertwining and glowing brighter as Linnea began to weave. Slowly, a vision emerged. A vast forest filled with sunlight streaming through the trees. Birds sang sweetly in the branches, and the ground was carpeted with flowers of every color. A small child appeared in the dream, planting a sapling in the soft earth, their face glowing with joy. Linnea gasped as she stepped back to admire her work. "Did I do that?" Skuld's smile was warm and proud. "You did, and it is beautiful. This dream will bring hope to someone who feels lost, reminding them of the endless possibilities that come with growth." Linnea's heart swelled with pride, but just as she was about to celebrate, something unusual happened. A dark thread appeared at the edge of the loom, its color deep and frayed. Unlike the others, it seemed heavy, almost reluctant to be woven. "What's that?" Linnea asked, pointing to the thread. Skuld's expression softened, though a shadow of sadness crossed her face. "That thread belongs to a restless soul," she said. "Someone burdened by fear or sorrow. Such threads are harder to weave, but they are no less important. They remind us that even in dreams, not all journeys are easy." Linnea felt a pang of uncertainty. "Can I weave it too?" "Not yet," Skuld replied gently. "Dreams with such threads require patience and wisdom. For now, focus on what you can create, and the rest will come in time." Encouraged, Linnea turned back to the loom and selected more vibrant threads. With each dream she wove, she felt a deeper connection to the loom and its magic. She realized that every thread, no matter its color or texture, held a story waiting to be told. By the end of the night, Linnea had woven dreams of gardens, starry skies, and flowing rivers. Each dream was a gift to the world, bringing light and peace to those who needed it most. As she stood back to admire her work, Skuld placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You are learning quickly, Linnea," the Norn said. "Dreams are not just gifts for others. They are windows into ourselves, showing us what we value and who we wish to become." Linnea smiled, feeling both humbled and inspired. She didn't yet know where this journey would lead, but she was eager to follow the threads wherever they might take her. Linnea awoke the next morning in her own bed, the faint glow of dawn streaming through the cottage window. For a moment, she wondered if her encounter with Skuld had been nothing more than a vivid dream. But as she stretched, a single thread, golden and warm, lay on her bedside table, its glow faint but unmistakable. Her heart leapt. It had been real. She had stood beneath Yggdrasil, woven dreams on the great loom, and learned from the youngest of the Norns. All day, Linnea couldn't shake the feeling of awe and purpose that filled her. She went about her chores with unusual energy, humming a soft tune and stealing glances at the golden thread whenever she could. She felt as though she carried a piece of Skuld's realm within her, a secret too precious to share. That night, as the village settled into quiet, the silvery voice came again. "Linnea, This time, there was no hesitation. She closed her eyes, and when she opened them, she stood once more in the meadow of stars. Skuld awaited her, her radiant form framed by the towering world tree. "I see you have kept the thread," Skuld said with a smile. Linnea nodded. "It's beautiful. Does it mean something?" "All threads do," Skuld replied. "That one is yours. It represents the dreams you will bring into the world, the hopes you will nurture, and the choices you will make." Linnea gazed at the golden thread, feeling its warmth in her palm. But as she turned back to the loom, she noticed something strange. The dark thread she had seen the night before now hovered closer, its frayed edges more pronounced. "It's here again," Linnea said, pointing to it. Skuld's expression grew thoughtful. "Yes, it is. Sometimes, the threads that carry the heaviest burdens linger until they are woven into a dream. They will not leave until their story is told." Linnea hesitated, remembering the weight of the thread's presence. What kind of dream would it make? "That depends on the weaver," Skuld said gently. "It can bring healing or hope, or reveal fears that must be faced. Such threads require great care, for they hold the power to change both the dreamer and the weaver." Linnea felt a shiver of uncertainty. She wasn't sure she was ready to face such a challenge. But as Skuld began weaving dreams with her usual grace, Linnea found herself drawn once more to the loom, her curiosity stronger than her fear. She reached for a thread, this time a soft lavender strand that seemed to hum with quiet reassurance. As she wove it into the loom, the vision that emerged was of a peaceful field of wildflowers, where a lone figure sat beneath a tree, gazing at the sky. The dream felt calming, yet bittersweet, and Linnea couldn't help but wonder who would receive it. "Each dream is a gift," Skuld said, as if reading her thoughts. "Even when we do not understand its purpose, it finds its way to those who need it most." Linnea nodded, her confidence growing, yet the dark thread still lingered at the edge of her vision, waiting. The next evening, Linnea returned to the realm of dreams with a sense of determination. She had spent the day thinking about the dark thread and what Skuld had said about its power to change both the dreamer and the weaver. Though she was still unsure, she felt a deep pull to try. When she arrived at the loom, Skuld greeted her with a knowing smile. "You feel ready?" she said. Linnea hesitated. "I want to try weaving the dark thread," she admitted, "but I'm afraid of what it might create." "Fear is natural," Skuld said kindly. "But remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to act despite it. If you feel ready, the loom will guide you." Taking a deep breath, Linnea reached for the dark thread. Its texture was different from the others, heavier and rougher, as if it carried a storm within it. The moment she touched it, a rush of emotions washed over her: sadness, anger, and a deep longing she couldn't fully understand. Her hands trembled as she placed the thread onto the loom. At first, it resisted, its edges fraying further, as if reluctant to be woven. But as Linnea paired it with a soft thread of pale blue, the dark strand began to settle, its roughness smoothing slightly. The vision that emerged was unlike any Linnea had woven before. It was a dream of a desolate forest, its trees bare and grey under a cloudy sky. A figure wandered through the woods, lost and alone, their footsteps echoing in the silence. But as the dream unfolded, a single beam of light broke through the clouds, illuminating a path lined with budding flowers. The figure paused, then began to follow the light, their steps growing steadier and more confident. Linnea's breath caught as the dream ended. "What does it mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "It is a dream of hope," Skuld said, her tone filled with quiet pride. "Even in the darkest moments, there is a way forward. You have given someone the courage to find their path." Linnea felt a warmth spread through her, a mixture of relief and pride. She had woven the dark thread, and in doing so, she had created something meaningful. As she stepped back from the loom, Skuld placed a hand on her shoulder. "You have taken an important step tonight, Linnea. Dreams are not only about peace and beauty, they are also about strength, growth, and resilience. You are beginning to understand the true power of the loom." Linnea smiled, her heart lighter than it had been before. She realized that every thread, no matter how heavy or frayed, held the potential for something beautiful. It was simply a matter of weaving with care and courage. As Linnea returned to the loom that night, she felt a new sense of confidence. Her success with the dark thread had awakened a deeper understanding of the loom's power and her own. Yet as she approached, she noticed something unusual. Several threads shimmered and swirled together as if they were restless, tugging at the air with an unseen force. Skuld stood beside the loom, her expression calm but watchful. "Tonight, the threads have stories they are eager to tell," she said. "Some nights, the loom reflects the urgency of the dreamers, those whose hearts call out for guidance or solace." Linnea felt a tug of excitement, mixed with a twinge of nervousness. She reached for the restless threads, their colors shifting between gold, crimson, and deep violet. As her fingers brushed them, an electric hum coursed through her, filling her mind with images she couldn't yet decipher. "What do they mean?" Linnea asked, looking to Skuld. "They are threads of the unknown," Skuld explained. "They weave dreams for those standing at the crossroads of their lives, people seeking clarity, courage, or wisdom to face what lies ahead." Linnea hesitated. "But how can I weave something I don't understand?" Skuld's gaze softened. "Trust the loom, Linnea. Dreams are not always meant to give answers. Sometimes, they simply offer light to illuminate the path." Taking a deep breath, Linnea began to weave. The threads seemed to guide her hands, their energy flowing together in harmony. Slowly, a vision unfolded, a winding road stretching into a twilight horizon. Along the road, lanterns flickered to life one by one, their golden glow revealing the way forward. A traveler appeared, their face obscured, but their posture determined as they walked into the light. When the dream was complete, Linnea stepped back, marveling at its quiet beauty. "Will they find their way?" she asked, softly. "They will," Skuld replied. The dream will remind them that the journey is as important as the destination, and that they are never truly alone. Linnea felt a sense of peace settle over her, but her gaze lingered on the threads still floating around the loom. Are there more dreams like this? Skuld nodded. Every thread tells a unique story, but some carry the weight of mystery. It is the weaver's task to honor that mystery and let the dream unfold as it must. Linnea's heart swelled with a mixture of awe and responsibility. She was beginning to see the loom not just as a tool, but as a living, breathing entity that connected her to the hopes and fears of the world. The following evening, Linnea arrived at the loom to find Skuld already weaving. The youngest Norn worked with a focus that was almost fierce, her hands moving swiftly as she combined a vibrant crimson thread with one of deep black. Linnea paused, unsure if she should interrupt. "Come closer, Linnea," Skuld said without looking up. "Tonight, the loom has called for something rare, a binding thread." "What's a binding thread?" Linnea asked, stepping closer to watch. Skuld finished her weaving and turned to Linnea, holding up the dream she had created. It shimmered in the air, showing two figures standing at opposite ends of a vast chasm. Slowly, a bridge of light formed between them, and they began to walk toward each other. "A binding thread connects souls," Skuld explained. "It weaves dreams that mend broken bonds, heal old wounds, or bring people together when the time is right." Linnea's eyes widened. "Can I try weaving one?" Skuld's expression turned serious. Binding threads are not easy to work with. They carry both joy and pain, for they touch the deepest parts of the soul. If you wish to try, you must be prepared to feel what the thread holds. Linnea hesitated but nodded. "I want to try." Skuld gestured to the loom, where a single thread of silver and gold hovered. Linnea reached for it, and the moment her fingers touched it, an overwhelming wave of emotion surged through her. She felt joy so pure, it brought tears to her eyes, followed by a deep ache of sorrow that made her chest tighten. "It's so intense," she whispered. "Binding threads often are," Skuld said gently. "But remember, the loom is here to guide you." Linnea steadied herself and began to weave. The thread seemed to resist at first, twisting and pulling against her movements. But as she worked, pairing it with a soft blue strand, the resistance began to fade. The dream that emerged was one of reconciliation. It showed two people sitting together beneath a tree, their hands clasped as they spoke. The air around them shimmered with light, and the tension between them dissolved into understanding and forgiveness. Linnea stepped back, her heart heavy but full. "Will this dream really help them?" she asked. "It will," Skuld assured her. "Binding threads are powerful because they remind us of our connections to one another. They teach us that even the deepest wounds can heal, and that love and understanding are always within reach." Linnea nodded, her chest swelling with pride and humility. She had felt the weight of the thread's story, and in weaving it, she had brought light to a place of darkness. As she left the loom that night, Linnea realized how much she had grown. Each thread she wove taught her something new, not just about dreams, but about herself and the world around her. And though she still had much to learn, she felt ready to face whatever the loom might bring next. When Linnea returned to the loom that night, a strange stillness greeted her. The threads were no longer restless or shimmering, as they had been in previous nights. Instead, they hung suspended, almost motionless, like a quiet before a storm. Skuld stood nearby, her expression unreadable. "What's happening?" Linnea asked, her voice hushed, as if afraid to disturb the silence. "The loom is waiting," Skuld said. "Tonight, it asks for something extraordinary. It is a night when a weaver must create a dream from a thread unseen." "A thread unseen?" Linnea repeated, her brow furrowing. Skuld gestured toward the loom. "Most threads are tangible, their colors and textures reflecting the stories they carry. But unseen threads are rare. They are born from the weaver's own heart and intuition, woven from the unseen essence of their own spirit." Linnea felt a jolt of both excitement and trepidation. "How will I find it?" "You won't find it," Skuld said, with a faint smile. "It will reveal itself when you begin. Close your eyes and trust your hands." Linnea took her place before the loom, her palms sweating as she rested them on its edge. Closing her eyes, she focused on the gentle hum that always emanated from the loom, a rhythm as steady as her own heartbeat. Slowly she reached forward, her fingers moving as if guided by an invisible force. At first, she felt nothing but air. Then, as she reached deeper, a warmth bloomed in her palm, a soft, glowing presence that seemed to pulse with life. Linnea opened her eyes and gasped. There, in her hand, was a thread unlike any she had ever seen. It shimmered with an ethereal light, shifting between colors that seemed to come from the edges of dreams. Soft silver, pale gold, and the faintest blush of rose. "What is this?" she whispered. "It is your thread," Skuld said, her voice reverent. "It carries the essence of who you are, your dreams, your fears, your hopes. Tonight, you will weave a dream born from your own soul." Linnea hesitated, the weight of the task pressing down on her. But as she looked at the thread, a sense of calm washed over her. She began to weave, her movements instinctive and fluid. The vision that emerged was unlike any she had created before. The dream showed a vast meadow under a starlit sky. In the center stood Linnea herself, surrounded by countless figures whose faces she could not see, but whose presence felt warm and familiar. They held threads in their hands, each one glowing with a unique light. Slowly, the figures stepped forward, offering their threads to Linnea, who wove them together into a tapestry that shimmered with infinite colors. As the dream ended, Linnea stepped back, tears streaming down her face. "What does it mean?" she asked. "It is a dream of unity," Skuld said softly. "It shows that each of us carries a thread that contributes to the greater tapestry of existence. Your dream will remind its dreamer of their place in the world and the beauty of the connections they share." Linnea felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing she had created something truly special. On what would be her final night with the loom, Linnea found Skuld waiting with a rare and radiant smile. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, and the air hummed with an energy that Linnea had come to recognize as the loom's voice. "You have come far, Linnea," Skuld said. "Tonight, you will weave your final dream, but not for another. This dream will be yours." Linnea blinked in surprise. "Mine? But why?" "Every weaver must leave their mark on the loom," Skuld explained. "It is tradition. Your dream will join the others, and in doing so, it will guide those who come after you." Linnea's heart swelled with emotion. She stepped forward, the loom feeling more familiar than ever under her hands. Threads began to gather around her, each one glowing faintly, waiting for her to choose. She reached for one of soft lavender, another of bright gold, and finally one of deep green. As she wove, the dream that unfolded was a reflection of her journey. It showed a young girl stepping into a forest of stars, her eyes wide with wonder. She encountered a great loom and an unseen guide who taught her to weave. With each thread, the girl grew stronger, more confident, and more attuned to the magic around her. In the final scene, the girl stood beneath Yggdrasil, her hands outstretched as threads of light cascaded from her fingers, filling the world with dreams. When the dream was complete, Skuld placed a hand on Linnea's shoulder. "You have done well," she said. "Your dream will be a beacon for all who seek purpose and peace." Linnea felt a bittersweet pang in her chest. "Is this goodbye?" "For now," Skuld said, her smile warm. "But you will carry the lessons of the loom with you always. Every time you dream, every time you offer kindness or hope to another, you will honor the threads you have woven." As the stars began to fade, Linnea found herself standing in her bedroom once more, the faint glow of dawn peeking through the window. The golden thread still rested on her bedside table, a reminder of all she had learned. With a smile, she picked it up, feeling its warmth in her palm. She knew that her journey as a weaver was not truly over. It had only just begun. As our story comes to a close, take a moment to reflect on the journey we've shared tonight. The threads of dreams, the lessons of the loom, and the quiet magic of connection and purpose. Linnea's story reminds us that even in the stillness of night, we are all weaving something beautiful into the fabric of our lives. Now, as you settle into your own dreams, let the calm of the evening wrap around you like a soft, comforting thread. Feel the weight of the day melt away, replaced by a gentle peace that carries you toward rest. Remember, each dream you have is a gift, a chance to explore, to grow, and to simply be. Good night, dear listener. May your dreams tonight be filled with light, warmth, and wonder. Sleep well, and until next time, rest easy